The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 2018 webinar. My name is Gérard Metraillé and I'm in charge of the product team here at Corel. And I'll be introducing and giving you an overview of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite today. Here with me are Cécile Brosius, who is the Director of Product Marketing for CorelDRAW, as well as Roger Wambolt from our Customer Success team, who will be helping answering questions throughout the webinar. This webinar will be recorded and will be available on our website for future viewing. Please be aware that everyone will be on mute for the entire session. To ask a question, please use the GoToWebinar console on the right-hand side of your screen. Simply select the third panel from the bottom of the console and click the plus sign to reveal the question window. Then click in the questions field. We'll answer as many questions as possible either during or at the end of the webinar. So without further delay, let's get started. As the title states, the objective of this webinar is to give you an overview of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 2018, which was announced earlier today worldwide by news release, and which has already received very positive feedback from our media partner and beta testers. We hope you'll be as impressed as we are excited by all the great new and enhanced features in this release. Before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who is joining us today. We've been overwhelmed with the response that we've had to this webinar. I also wanted to put a big thank you out to everybody at Corel who worked on CorelDRAW Graphics Suite and making this release a reality. Without further ado, let me jump straight into the product. CorelDRAW Graphics Suite is used by millions of users worldwide, and if we were to summarize to the maximum, there are two broad categories of users, a group of users. The creative professionals who, in the majority of the cases, use CorelDRAW Graphics Suite for more than 5 hours a day. It's their main tool for their business. They're either creative professionals, they're production-oriented designers such as sign makers, engravers, etc. They work in the fashion and garment decoration industry, or are illustrators and fine artists. The other broad category of users that CorelDRAW Graphics Suite has worldwide are occasional graphics users. These are users who use CorelDRAW Graphics Suite for less than 5 hours a week, so really as an additional tool to their productivity software. They're either in sales and marketing in small, medium-sized businesses, or office users in the enterprises, or hobbyists, and they use CorelDRAW Graphics Suite to enhance their presentations, enhance their documents, or create a special flyer for a special occasion. Overall, here at Corel, we spend a lot of time talking to our users and really understanding deeply their needs, their workflows, their expectations. It all starts with an ideation phase. Part of the process, you can start from a previous project, from documents from your customers, from different sources of information, and sometimes, especially for fine artists, start from a blank canvas to create something completely new. The whole design, creation, and design process happens in CorelDRAW. And depending on the industry, you might use tools from third-party partners such as Roland, Epilogue, Wilcom, Ryonet, who specialize in selected solutions for the needs of the large format printing, vinyl cutting, engraving, etc., or embroidery design. Leveraging the capability of design, you can then go everywhere and output to any medium, from the small logo for the web page or card, to printing locally on a wide format printer or on huge billboards, to direct-to-garment, embroidery, cutters, engravers, digital signage. The possibilities are endless. Every day we come to work here at Corel, we're always amazed by the amazing work that our users can do. And this is just a few examples of what our users have done over the years and that we love to highlight because this really drives our motivation every day when we come to the office, enabling you, CorelDRAW users, to create amazing pieces of art. Here, for example, a great mural that was designed first in CorelDRAW and then painted on a huge wall. But today the topic is really about the brand new version of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, version 2018, that we're announcing today. And this is really a lot of work from everybody at Corel over the last year that really drove this new release, this major new release, with an amazing list of new benefits and functionality. Overall, what's included in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite? The CorelDRAW application for page layout and vector illustration is included and has a lot of new functionality. I'll show you that in just a minute. Corel Photo Paint, our award-winning professional photo editing application, also comes with a new release and a lot of new benefits and enhancements. A new version of Corel Font Manager, which now is capable of handling even larger font lists and even more complete and faster in that way, as well as additional tools such as Corel Power Trace to convert from bitmap to vector, to convert low-resolution logos into high-resolution vector objects that you can repurpose. And new for this release, for the first time available with the CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, Corel Aftershot HDR, which enables users to manage their photo libraries, to do the raw processing of their images that they got from their camera, digital cameras, as well as cutting-edge HDR technologies, so enabling you to really do a depth of colors and intensity on these images you work in. In addition to that, a lot more content, as always with CorelDRAW, over 10,000 clip arts, over 2,000 high-res stock photos, over 1,000 fonts, and hours of video training available for our users around the world. Overall, CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 2018 focuses on key areas for its benefits. First and foremost, it's about empowering your creativity, enabling you to do things that were not possible before or very hard to do before, so that you can push the boundaries in creativity and in design. At the same time, very important for us is to enable you to work faster and deliver high quality. A very important part of our development process is to deliver tools that enable you to be as productive as possible. Because for many of our users, either you're a professional and time is money, the more projects you can work through, the more you can invoice your customers. Or if you're a casual user, the easier the product is to remember, the easier to use, and the faster you can use the tools, the better it will get you back to your day job in the office productivity software. You also want to be able to do more with your photos and images, do the intrusion, for example, of Aftershot for the raw lab capabilities and HDR capabilities, as well as new innovations and high productivity. So really help you to be compatible with the latest technologies so that you can leverage what comes on the hardware perspective with the latest generations of pen and touch devices, for example. Finally, we want to make sure that you can deliver and work on projects of any sizes, from the small logo for the web to the very large billboards. CorelDRAW on a single page can support about the size of about 2 football fields in size. So a really big size of document. And that enables you to work in a one-to-one space, for example, for many of your projects. But without further ado, let me just jump into CorelDRAW Graphics Suite and show you a little bit more of the product and the new features included in this release. Okay, so here I actually was using the multi-page layout capabilities of CorelDRAW to show you my slides earlier. So let me just go to the next page, and let me jump into the CorelDRAW application itself to show you a little bit more about the new features. A lot of effort went into this release to enable you to create some stunning pieces of art that weren't possible before as easily and as high quality as possible. To illustrate a little bit my usage of these new tools, I'm going to use this poster as an example that was designed by one of our user experience designers here on the CorelDRAW team. So our own team who develops CorelDRAW are artists themselves, because it's a product that's designed for artists by artists and for designers by designers. Here's an example of how that same piece of art could be used on a wall, on a mural, in posters, on marketing flyers, on digital signage, for example, or also to then apply that on different pieces. So really, how do we take this piece of art that we create in CorelDRAW and output to anything? The first tool I want to talk to you about today is a brand new tool that we call the Symmetry tool. And this is very unique in professional graphics, vector graphics application. For other tools out there, it is an extra add-on, a plugin that you need to purchase. That doesn't come standard with the product. Here's how it works. I'm just going to create a simple blank document to start with. I'm going to come and turn on a symmetry and create a new symmetry. With this symmetry tool, we have quite a lot of options. I'm just going to stay with the default ones and just going to increase the number of symmetries and then start putting objects at different places. And you can see how automatically this creates my object for me, my design for me. I could then just create a circle, put it in here, and automatically I've created that. When I'm done, I could put some colors in there, take this one and put perhaps a darker one. And when I'm done, my symmetry has been created for me. I can have as many angles as I want for my symmetry. So with a little bit more time, that enables me to create a symmetry such as this one here and create something very compelling, very exciting. And if I come here just over this object here, this symmetry, I can come and click and edit that. And perhaps select this little shape here, put a color. I know from a graphic design perspective, I might do something really bad, but automatically this has been applied throughout in this mandala art type symmetry. You can use this, and you see this used more and more everywhere. So it's a very powerful tool in graphic design these days, and it's very easy to use. So coming back to the example of the poster I was talking earlier on, here's just how easy it is to start using this symmetry tool. I've prepared the outline of my husky here in one side, and then I can simply come symmetry, create symmetry, and there you go. That object has been recreated as a perfect symmetry for me. I could come in and tweak a little bit, a few things, but there I go. I am all done. I can come back into my symmetry, take my node editing tool here, for example, and edit things if I wanted to, go into the details and have full control of that graphic. The other new feature that I want to talk to you about, to relate back to the poster that I had earlier, is what we call block shadows. And you can see them here at the bottom. This is a type of shadow that is very much used in different industries, and more as well in creative design, which, especially if you're doing production-oriented vinyl cutting and things like that, you want to have very hard cuts. For example, you might also want to be able to, let me take the block shadow tool here, change things. Perhaps we can make the block shadow a little darker. There we go. Or I can now move it, change it aside, and you can see that it actually follows my design very quickly. If I bring it back in, you'll also see that we have little holes here. But if I select this function here of removing holes, automatically it fills all that. So if I do a vinyl cutting, for example, it will automatically not have to cut that area in my printout. So a lot of those tools are a huge work effort for a traditional designer and production-oriented designer. But with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 2018, you can do that in no time. So much more in this release, and again, I'm just going to give you a short overview of everything that's new with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 2018. But one of the other very exciting tools that we're getting super positive feedback is the impact tool. Let me just zoom in a little bit here and create a simple circle. What I'd like to do from this circle, let me just take away the document grid. What I'd like to do is, using my impact tool, here. What I want to do is give a little effect of motion to this circle here. So let's just come here and select a parallel. A parallel effect. I'm just going to plug it in here, and you can already see that it has created some motion. I can take this and say I'd like to align it to that. I can even give some randomness so that it actually feels like it's moving a little faster. I could also take now more a radial effect. Apply it here and here again. There it goes. I can also again do random start points and end points. And you'll see very quickly how that looks very unique and very special in just a few clicks to create something that is not possible differently. To give you an example on the Husky image, how that was used, for example, I'm just going to zoom into the eye that we recreated, and you can see that in the iris, this is actually using the impact tool in the background to create an effect that makes it very realistic and really cool design next to it. The other creative tool that we're introducing in this release is called Pointillizer. Let me just go there to Pointillizer. It's a new Docker that we have here. I can choose multiple options. I'm just going to stay with the very standard settings, but you can set the density, the scale, number of colors, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm just going to apply this as a circle. And what it's going to do is like a duotone effect, if you want, very quickly onto this Husky photo that I can reuse and repurpose. But the one I really like to use here is something that you could not do by hand. There is no way that's going to happen. Is to not only use either a circle or a square, but take a custom shape, like, for example, this H letter, and I'm now going to pick it here and apply. And you'll see that it renders this very quickly in a very unique way with the letter H. So think about the effects you could do with a corporate logo or different things for your customers or your specific needs in a way that is almost virtually impossible by hand. And this takes 10 seconds. The other aspect that is very important for us is around productivity, enabling you to have the tool that enable you to be precise and productive as much as possible. One of the new enhancements that we're doing is around being able to not only align objects together, but go the next level, which is actually to align nodes amongst each other. Let me just select multiple nodes on this curve here, and I'm just going to align them to the right, to the left, sorry. And here, align them to the right, and now select them all and distribute them vertically. And here you go, very quickly, this zigzag is now perfect in just a few clicks. Even more tools are in there to help you be as productive as possible. One of them is our new fit object to path functionality. If I want to take this object and align it to this circle very quickly and also replicate it so I have 12 of those objects around the path, I'm just going to create 11 duplicates. I have many options here again to fine-tune exactly what I want, but here I'm taking the very simple, straightforward option, just applying here. Now I'm taking my circle here and just making it transparent. And there you go, it's already done, it's applied, and you can move forward. We also know that quite a lot of you need to track the time they spend in the software. And therefore, we've integrated Project Timer directly for you. I can pick my tasks here, and I can actually just turn on the counter, and you'll see the counter starting to work. So here, I'm tracking the time I'm spending in the design of this application. So here, I've spent 5 seconds, for example. I can also come here and configure this to be automatically starting the recording when the document is opened or when a task is activated. I can also define some inactivity detection when my application is away, etc., etc. I have all these options there. And then once I'm done and I've tracked my time, I can even come here and export it to a CSV file or a text file, which enables me to handle that for billing purposes thereafter in whatever tool I want to use for that. Another big enhancement that was a big request from a lot of our users is the fill functionality and the fill speed and being able to work with fills. With CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 2018, we've spent a lot of time going through every aspect of the application that you as our users use the most and make sure that we deliver something that works as fast as possible. We've changed our fill functionality so that we work primarily with local fills, and you can very quickly apply them. You don't need to connect to the internet. You can access your own. You can save them, etc. And if you want more fills, you can come to our welcome screen, get more, and there is a content pack where you can go and download fill packs that are available for free download for anybody who purchases CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. So a very powerful tool for our users there. Even more productivity. Some of you have asked for this for quite a few versions now. If I come into my file location, I can actually specify where each is going to be saved. So if I want to store some of them on a shared server, or where my fonts are, where my photos are, etc., all of this can be managed here as one place. Part of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite and CorelDRAW 2018, we've continued to enhance and evolve our latest innovation around artificial intelligence. Our Live Sketch tool continues to be enhanced with this release, and I can very quickly come and sketch a graphic and a curve, and you can see the blue lines is what I sketch by hand, and the black line is what the software actually recognizes from my design. So I can very quickly create an object like this and just commit to it in just a mouse and a click here. This is a very powerful tool for you to think and iterate on top of the design. But what we've added, not only have we improved our algorithm, but we've also improved our way of handling the pen. Most of the pens available today have an eraser on the opposite side, and if I just roll my pen, I can very quickly come and erase part of my lines and change things very easily here in just a few clicks like this, or do some really cool effects in that case. So all of that is really powerful for everyone to use on, and I can come in here and again erase stuff in just a few clicks and just apply to it. The other innovation that we're bringing to the market with CorelDRAW 2018 is a built-in support for the Surface Dial and other wheel-based devices that exist, such as the one for the Dell Canva screen. A Surface Dial is just a little device that you can either use off-screen, and for CorelDRAW, when you use it off-screen, you can either zoom or do undo, redo, work with Live Sketch so you can commit your designs, select the object order, or select turn the pages, so I can quickly come back one page, go back to the next page if I use that here. Let me just go to undo, which is my preferred feature. But if you have a dial or a dial Canva where you can use it on screen, if you put it on screen, you will see in real time, this gives you a dynamic toolbox that you can choose, edit, and change the way you want. And if there's certain tools you really want to have in there, you can just drag and drop them in, and they'll show up in your digital toolbox there very easily. If you're left-handed, it will also work, so the software knows about left-handed, right-handed, and if you keep your dial in your non-dominant hand, you'll be able to flip from one to the other very easily and very intuitively. Let me show you a few more of the new things we've added in CorelDRAW before switching gears into Corel Photo Paint and the other products of the suite. One of them is around being able to continuing to be more innovative around perspective. Let me just put this here. I'm going to zoom in slightly and create our new perspective tool here. Sorry. Where are you? Where is it? I'm missing something. No, it's in there. Sorry, I'll get there. Add perspective, there it is. So I can just come and grab here my object, put it down there, take this one at the corner here. So that enables me to very quickly show my customer how this huge billboard will look like on his wall, for example. In just a few simple clicks, I can just click apply, and now if I add on top of that a transparency, for example, a light transparency, perhaps not 50%, more in the 30%, you'll see some of the texture of the wall behind, so it'll give you a really realistic effect of how this is going to look like. Another part is that we are now able to use envelopes on bitmaps, which was not possible before. So again, you can take any bitmap, any graphic, and take our envelope tool here and start moving things around to give it a more rounded effect. And I'm going to do it very quickly here just to show you a little bit how that would look. If I were to do it, I could spend a little bit more time and be more precise on that. But a very, very easy and interactive way of doing those types of things. And finally, for those of you who have fairly powerful computers with powerful GPUs, you'll see that in our global settings, you can now turn on the GPU for vector preview, so that if you have a high-end GPU card, a graphics card on your computer, CorelDRAW is going to leverage it and use it as much as possible when it's available. Let me switch gears and come over to Corel Photo Paint and show a bit more about what we've done there. Part of Corel Photo Paint's work and mission is really to be the best possible photo editor and bitmap editor for a CorelDRAW Graphics Suite user. And we really work hard on making sure that this is working as seamlessly as possible. So if I just click on Edit Bitmap, select an image and click on Edit Bitmap, I will now be able to very quickly open this in Photo Paint. Just come full screen here. And using our perspective tools, here my straightening tool, for example, I can just click in a few clicks instead of having to go to a separate dialog box, a grid, and using a complex grid and try it by hand. I can just go click one button, click Finish Editing, say yes, and it is back in Corel Photo Paint, and CorelDRAW straighten and very easy there. A lot of new things in Corel Photo Paint, but let me show you just one more perhaps here. It's about the interactive perspective. So let's go back, take this picture, let's go back into Photo Paint. For those who are newer to CorelDRAW and CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, you'll see here that Photo Paint looks very similar to a CorelDRAW. But I'll also say here, for those who are more familiar with another photo editing product in the market, you can come in the welcome screen, select the workspaces here on the side, and for example, change your layout to look more similar to an Adobe Photoshop, for example, so that the tools, the layouts will be more useful for you. I have to say, personally, I'm not used to that UI, so I'll switch back to the traditional mode, the default mode. So let me come back to perspective correction here. Let me zoom in a little bit so you'll see it better. I can now just grab a few points on my graphic, on my object, and say I want to drive the perspective according to these points. One more click here. That's my new reference point for my perspective. I'm just going to change the options here, and there you go. It's been corrected and useful directly there. A lot more in Corel Photo Paint was done, but I want to show you a few more things. One last thing in Photo Paint that is actually also in CorelDRAW. It's that we've added a new functionality to do export for WordPress. This is something we see our users do a lot, and WordPress is representing about a third of the websites out there. Most of our users are interacting with the WordPress site. So here I can simply come and select export this image for WordPress. It will prepare my export for our WordPress dialog, so I can optimize if I want to go to JPEG, GIF, PNG, or whatever format. I'll see the size, etc. And once I'm done, I simply click Upload, select the site I want to go with, either a WordPress.com hosted or a self-hosted WordPress.org site. And once I'm done, I'll just click Upload here, and that image will automatically show up in my media library. Traditionally, the process is you save this on a folder, you open the web browser, drag and drop. It's a few steps, but if you do these over and over and over again, it is a huge time saver for you. So here's just an example of that WordPress site I uploaded to. I'm just going to refresh this page, and you'll see that this image is now available here, and I have all the information that just got uploaded, and I can use that in my blogs or on my WordPress site very quickly and very intuitively. Let me just apply the perspective correction and finish editing. Let's go back into CorelDRAW, and you can see it here, all corrected and ready to go. As mentioned before, I could have come here in CorelDRAW, take this title and say publish to WordPress, export for WordPress, and here as well, same functionality. I can do it there directly and send my logo, my graphics directly from CorelDRAW and optimize the palettes to whichever size I want to have. When it comes to photos, we also spend a lot of time enabling you to be even more creative than ever before. This is one example, an image that we use a new tool that we call Photo Cocktail. Photo Cocktail enables you to create a mosaic of photos very, very quickly. For those who remember the poster of the movie Truman Show, that's what they used, where it was a photo of Jim Carrey made out of hundreds and hundreds of different photos. Well, here it's really the same tool, and it is built in. So you can simply browse a folder with all photos that you have that you want to use and give some options on colors, etc. I'm not going to run through the process. It takes like 30 seconds to go. But if I just remove this, you'll see the result through this process thereafter. And I can zoom in, and automatically this has been created for you with photos below so that you can really create unique and impressive posters in no time with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. And therefore, productivity is also for photos. I mentioned it earlier. This is the first version of CorelDRAW where we also introduce and include Aftershot, our photo library management and raw workflow tool. Aftershot also not only supports the latest camera RAWs, but also includes HDR capabilities. So if your camera did take an HDR, you have the 3 exposures from the HDR photo, you can process those in Aftershot directly so that you can leverage them in Corel Photo Paint or in CorelDRAW and use them part of your design to have a high contrast and high vibrancy images there available for everyone. So when we bring it all together, here's just a view of that poster I had at the beginning and some of the element we used. I used the Symmetry tool here that I talked about. We used the Impact tool to create the eyes and finalize it here. We've just removed a little bit and moved it behind a little bit. One feature I haven't talked about is a new capability of dashed corners. So it really becomes very professional looking, and at the end it actually handles the corners correctly for you if you have dashed lines. Pointillizer, I can zoom in a little bit, you'll see it better there. Pointillizer uses those tones here and those spots here to create the background effect. The block functionality, and many of those tools enable you to create graphic designs that were not easily done before or almost impossible to do before. So this concludes my overview for today of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. I'll just point a few more things because they're usually very important for our users. We continue to have our hint stalker here. So as I select a tool, this changes automatically with the instructions on how to use the tool and all the details, as well as link to extra videos if you have some. So if you have, you want to learn more, you just click on it, it'll get you straight to the extra videos. Our welcome screen is the one that starts up and has been completely redesigned with this release. For example, here you'll see with a bigger perspective all the recent documents you had open. You can choose your workspace if you want to go to a specific one for illustration, page layout, etc. You can also and continue to be able to create your own workspace, export it, import workspaces you create in older versions. We include a lot of information about what's new with more tips, tricks, and lesson learned, access to learning tools, access to our Discovery Center for even more tutorials, an inspiration gallery of some pretty impressive pieces of our users. You can have a look at them here. And then you also have our Get More access, where you can come, for example, for application and get the Aftershot HDR for free directly there if you've purchased CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, or all of the content, plus extra fonts, extra special offers, etc., available exclusively for CorelDRAW Graphics Suite customers. I want to spend a few more minutes around purchasing options for CorelDRAW, because we feel strongly about providing you choice in purchasing options. Today, you can purchase CorelDRAW either as a perpetual license, as a box, as a download version, or as a volume license, and have that license on a perpetual basis. Or if you prefer so, you can go with a subscription to CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. We feel strongly that you shouldn't be forced one way or another, but given the options to go the way that you prefer to work with. For those who prefer the perpetual license track, we also offer a special offering that is called the Upgrade Program. This is really a way for you to protect your investment on CorelDRAW Graphics Suite for the long term. For a low yearly fee, you will guarantee that you'll always be on the latest version. What does it mean? If you sign up for the Upgrade Program when you purchase CorelDRAW Graphics Suite from Corel or through a volume license program, you'll automatically get access to the new version as it gets released. So everybody who is on the Upgrade Program today actually received, from a previous version, actually received CorelDRAW an email earlier today with a link and instructions on how to get their copy of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 2018 to get going immediately. A tremendous amount of value there for our users for a low yearly fee. And this is really the best way for you to protect your investment, or then you go on a subscription and you'll be always up to date with the latest version. Talking about always up to date with the latest versions, CorelDRAW Graphics Suite system requirements remain as light as we can make it. I think 2 gigs of RAM might be a little light if you do very complex graphics, but it will work. We also are compatible with Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and the current releases of Windows 10. A little comment on Windows 10. We do support the currently publicly available version, which is called the Fall Creators Update, or 1709. We also fully support the one version back, so 1703, or the Creators Update. And we will be supporting every version of Windows 10 that is released during the life cycle of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 2018. So the version that is coming out in the next few weeks, 1803, 1804, is going to be fully supported with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite as well. And all versions that we release until the next version of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite comes out will be fully supported with this release. Outside of that, not a lot of high requirements from a system perspective. And for those, as I said earlier, who have very high-end machines with powerful graphics cards, you'll be able to leverage them even more this release with dedicated support for GPUs, for example. Today is the official announcement of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, April 10th, 2018. A trial version, a 15-day trial version, is available from our website for downloading immediately at CorelDRAW.com. You can also purchase the download version and the subscriptions right away, as well as our volume license options. Starting April 27th, we will be starting to ship the physical products if you prefer to get a physical box. It will be available by April 27th. And the product is available simultaneously in 14 languages: English, German, French, Italian, Brazilian Portuguese, Spanish, Dutch, Turkish, Czech, Polish, Russian, Japanese, Chinese simplified, and Chinese traditional, in almost that order. So you have a lot of options available today, and the product is really going out. The feedback we're getting so far from the press, from beta testers, has been truly exciting, and we can't wait to see what is going to be your feedback as well in the coming days. To sum it all up, CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, it's really about offering you a more comprehensive, more creative, more productive, more innovative, and more user-friendly product for your everyday work, enabling you to do graphics that were not possible before, and that really brings your creativity, your productivity in graphic design to a whole new level. I'm going to stop for here. I think I could spend another hour or two in showing some of the other new features in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, or some of my personal favorites that might not be that well known. But I want to look at the questions right now and answer as many of the questions as possible going forward here. So let's switch gears, and let me just have a look at what questions we have. So first question is about, how do I get CorelDRAW 2018 if I'm on a subscription? If you're on a subscription, I would recommend you check out your email inbox, because you should have received an email from Corel earlier today, or will be receiving one today, with the instructions on how to turn on your product as long as your subscription is valid and active. So that is available now. Same as I said for upgrade program users. If you have signed up for an upgrade program and your upgrade program is valid, you will get an email today with the instructions and anything you need to go and install that software on that product on your machine. One question about fonts and content. This release, we haven't refreshed and added a lot of new content. There's a little bit here and there, but the majority of the content is similar to the one that we released with the previous version. There's not a lot of new content in this release, but still a tremendous value for our customers. There's a lot of fills available that are more newer than that. There's a few fonts that are available and new fonts that are available, so a few have been added. We have a look at other questions here. iStock and Flickr. We've made some changes over time. We historically had in Corel Connect the capability of integrating iStock and those types of things directly in CorelDRAW. Over time, the APIs and the agreements with different companies change, and therefore they might no longer be directly available. We always look at the functionality that our users use most, and these were little used, and therefore we didn't pursue further licensing agreement with those companies at this stage. One of the questions about perspective. Perspective can be applied on both bitmap or vector, so you should be able to do perspectives everywhere in CorelDRAW now going forward. Let me have a look at different things. What's the main differences between PhotoPaint and PaintShop Pro? PaintShop Pro is it's an amazing digital photography edition tool that Corel has, and it's really focused around the digital photography and enabling them to edit their photos very dedicated in a very powerful way. Corel PhotoPaint, which comes with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, is really designed primarily in order to enable you to enhance bitmaps and photos in a workflow around CorelDRAW. So it has a lot more functionality, especially when it comes to print and digital output with CMYK colors, LAB colors mode, etc., versus the PaintShop Pro, which really focuses on digital photography and the RGB color space. Another question about different versions of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, and we historically had a different versions such as CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, as well as CorelDRAW Home and Student Suite, etc. We today only announced the new version of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. We'll have an announcement in the future about a new version of Home and Student, but not at this stage. CorelDRAW Graphics Suite is really the flagship product in the offering of CorelDRAW, and CorelDRAW Home and Student Suite is a version of CorelDRAW that has the functionality that is the most useful for home users and hobbyists. So, but that is licensed only for non-commercial purposes. So you don't. If you want to only use your home and only print on your local machine, on your local printer, for example, CorelDRAW Home and Student is a great product for your school projects or for your home projects. But for professional users who really go all the way and output into advanced file formats and advanced color modes, for example, or for working with large format printers, etc., CorelDRAW Graphics Suite is the way to go, and that one is licensed and allows you to use it in a commercial environment as well. Anything new in PowerTrace? This release we haven't spent a lot of effort on PowerTrace, and we focused on a few other areas, but we continue to look at how the algorithms work over time to make sure that it works. It's one of the best tracing engine in the market today to get you 98, 99% of the way there. Custom numbering on the page, such a raffle. Can you create custom numbering on the page, such as for raffle or concert tickets? I would say yes. I think Roger already answered that in the discussions, but you would be able to do that. I would say maybe using the duplexing and merging and our merge functionality. So there are different ways of that. I think Roger already answered that one in the question lists. Regarding the version that comes with the version of Aftershot that comes with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite, is it different from the Aftershot Pro that someone already owns? It is slightly different than the Pro version. If you're on Aftershot Pro 3, then you'll actually have a superset of the functionality versus the version that comes with CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. So you'll have even more functionality, but most of the we work closely with the Aftershot team to make sure that this version is of high value to everybody on the CorelDRAW product side. Why only WordPress and not Drupal? Okay, for our publish to WordPress function, one question about why did we choose WordPress and not other sites such as Drupal, Joomla, or many other solutions, or there's tons of them available. We had to prioritize, and it's always a question of choice. And the first release, we definitely want to release that for the tool that is used the most widely by our users and by the world at large on the web. WordPress today runs on about 30% of the websites as far as our understanding. So we want to focus on that. We'll definitely review others and more in the future, depending on usage and on adoption of this feature today. Another question here, I'm trying to look at the time, but we're doing okay. When installing CorelDRAW 2018, does it delete CorelDRAW 2017? No, you can install CorelDRAW 2018 side by side with CorelDRAW 2018. This is something that we do especially for our professional users who have CorelDRAW deployed for their production workflow and want to progressively transition over to a new version. You can run both side by side. If you purchase the CorelDRAW and install it on your machine, you can have it side by side with a previous version of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. One question about support for CorelDRAW X7. I'm not really sure about that, but officially Corel is no longer supporting CorelDRAW X7. We, until today, we normally only support one version back, and from a functionality release, we only, from a OS compatibility release, once a new version comes out, then the future OS's versions, like the next versions of Windows, are only supported by the version that come thereafter. So our support for X7 has ended about 4 or 5 years ago, I believe, at this stage. Will my add-ons from CorelDRAW 2017 work on CorelDRAW 2018? At this stage, as far as we've tested, we do not expect any problems with add-ons and with compatibility there. It should just work fine. Some of the add-ons are coded and programmed to a specific version of CorelDRAW, and therefore the person or the company who provided you that add-on might need to do a very small tweak to get there. But then it should work no problem. It's a very easy way to get to a CorelDRAW 2018 compatibility. Another question about downloading the trial. Should I uninstall CorelDRAW 2017 first before I install the trial, or can I leave version 2017 installed? Today, you can absolutely leave CorelDRAW 2017 installed on your system as you try CorelDRAW 2018, and even thereafter, if you want to have both for a while on your system, so you can go from one to the other, you can keep both on the same system, no problem at all. I see also a question about availability and what's about Mac OS and Mac OS compatibility. So CorelDRAW Graphics Suite is today a product developed for Windows, and it's focused on Windows. So we have quite some of our users who use CorelDRAW Graphics Suite on Mac, and we make sure that this latest version works on Macintosh hardware as well, using either Boot Camp or Parallels. But you will need to have Windows on Mac OS if that's what you want to have there. A question about training and learning. If you go to CorelDRAW.com/learning, I believe, you will find a lot of information through InProduct as well. We'll send you to different parts about learning. If you come to the welcome screen, as I said here, you'll have links to learning, to tutorials, but also to our Discovery Center and to capability of getting training from our partners and different solutions out there. Just looking if there's a few more. The upgrade program is for 1 year. Can it be renewed every year? Absolutely, and that's definitely the best way for you to remain always up to date is to let it renew automatically, and then every time a new version comes out, CorelDRAW is being on a yearly cycle. You will normally get a new version of CorelDRAW during your time with the upgrade program, so that there is a lot of value there, and it really is the cheapest possible way for you to protect your investment in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. I see a question about the symmetry design I did earlier, and there's a little spacing. Some of you have noticed that there's a very small spacing between those. That was intentional. I left it a little bit to the side there intentionally. Had I had more time, I could have then go and edit, and you could have seen the intent was to go and edit things and show you how easy it is to edit that and join the images. We can also then create an outline of the whole symmetry if we wanted to. So yes, we can join those images if we want to. Later on, I just left it empty there or open there. For the users who use CorelDRAW and through our Welcome partnership, I would recommend you contact Welcome for more timelines regarding their support of CorelDRAW 2018. I'm sure it's in progress, but I'll let Welcome give you more details on the specifics of that. And then perhaps one or two more. Okay, there's a question about using the CorelDRAW Graphics Suite with Painter 2018, and especially printing to fine art pigment printers. That's something I would have to investigate more. I don't think I have a direct answer for you there, but we can certainly make a note and see if we can get more answers there for you over that. I want to thank you all very much for joining today. It was a pleasure today to sharing you this overview of CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 2018. And thank you everyone for your interest in the latest version of CorelDRAW. You can find more information about CorelDRAW Graphics Suite 2018, as well as download a free 15-day trial version at coreldraw.com/graphicssuite. We wish you a very best of the rest of your day, and thank you very much again for attending this webinar. Goodbye.